there! Welcome to today's video from Levitate Piano Imagery. I'm Chia, and I have a fun-filled, animal-filled episode for you with some really cool hand positions and imagery that you can utilize when playing the piano. So some time ago, I came across a really interesting video describing a technique that renowned pianist Martha Argerich called the praying mantis. Basically, think of mimicking with your fingers how a praying mantis moves its arms when catching prey. And you get really wonderfully crisp articulation on fast passages. If you think about it, the imagery of a praying mantis is actually pretty ingenious and spot on. I bet you will never ever forget how to execute that technique when you have such vivid imagery in your mind. And if you know me, I am really big on using imagery for motor skill learning. So I was inspired to scour my own notes and scores for what imagery I've been using when learning various different hand and finger techniques. And I'm excited to share them with you in this video. Coincidentally or not, a lot of my imagery is also animal related. From jellyfish to creepy crawlies, let's go through them one by one. Bare paws is what I think of when I need to bounce the wrist quickly and freely between repeated or consecutive notes. With my arm held steady, fingers firm in position, and palms flush to the key tops, I'm using my wrist as a hinge so that each stroke is a quick flick of the wrist to the bottom of the key. It feels like I'm pawing at the keyboard. I originally came up with the bare paws imagery on this saison passage before realizing that it applies to so many different pieces as well. Here I am using my elbow as a hinge. Jellyfish is a very fundamental movement pattern that undergirds a large proportion of my playing. The movement is similar to how a jellyfish propels itself through water. So let's break down the movement pattern into its four constituent components. First, drop into the keys, thrust back up through the fingers, wrist, and arm, gather the fingers in the release, and then relax into the next drop. Rinse and repeat. Jellyfish is a fantastically effective technique to use with slow practice because this basic movement pattern is the same whether done fast or slow. When bringing it up to speed, focus on always maintaining the exact same movement pattern as when you were practicing it slowly. To give intensity to big chords, I like to grip these powerful chords with a forceful curl of my fingertips. That's a little exaggerated, of course, but this is how it sounds with the full resonance of the piano. In contrast to the crisp articulation of Martha Argerich's praying mantis, finger walking is great for achieving a beautiful legato line, or in fast leggero passages to get that shimmering wash of sound without any of the percussiveness in the tone. The way that finger walking works is to do a smooth transfer of finger pressure from one note into the next. I feel the contact of the next note before the transfer and release the previous note once the weight transfer is complete. Remember that tagline? Let your fingers do the walking. Okay, I hate creepy crawlies, but worm crawl is an amazing technique I learned that uses finger traction to depress the keys in a very gentle and subtle way. One fantastic use of worm crawls is for making arpeggiated accompaniment sound really hushed, as if they were receding into the background, and this allows the melody line to really stand out and soar above the accompaniment. In this Chopin etude, notice what I'm doing with the inner voices. My finger is barely grazing the key with the fleshy parts of my finger, and it's curling just a little as I depress the key very gently. This is finger traction at work, which allows me to really control the soft dynamics of the inner voices. Doesn't it look like a worm is crawling on the keyboard? To end on the more graceful notes, let's talk about the butterfly stroke. The butterfly stroke comes from swimming, of course, but here in piano, this imagery evokes a notion of coordinated movement of the full body that looks like doing a butterfly stroke in swimming. So to continue with the Chopin etude example, the recurring nature of these 16th note groups really form a smooth cyclical gesture. And you can see how my entire back, shoulders, and arms are coordinated to place my hands and fingers into the correct positions for the melody and bass line and the arpeggiated figurations in the inner voice. The butterfly stroke is not a hand position per se, but this is also a reminder that we as pianists are more than just our hands. We are our entire physical self. Actually, the imagery for this movement pattern that I use is stirring the cauldron. But I present it here as a butterfly stroke though, partly to continue the animal theme in this video, but also because perhaps this might resonate with some of you swimmers out there. And this also begs an important fact about how imagery should be used in the learning environment, which is that imagery is highly personal. So it is important for you to identify the imagery that resonates with you. That's it. A zoo of hand and finger imagery to achieve a variety of characters and tone colors in the music. Although the sonorities that we can coax out of the piano really just boils down to plain old physics, like how fast the hammers strike the string, I think it's just way more fun and way more effective to use imagery to help us learn the technique for achieving this richness of sound. So I hope you have come away with some good ideas for developing your own imagery for your own learning. And if you enjoyed this episode and would like to receive updates on future blog posts, please subscribe at the subscribe link below. And please visit my blog, Levitate Piano Imagery, at LEVITATEPianoImagery.com. Thank you and see you next time.